Hello and welcome to this After Effects certification preparation series of videos. I'm Luisa Winters. In this video, I'd like to go over Objective 4.7a, which is to apply and adjust transformations using keyframes. And here we're going to talk about keyframing transform properties. We're going to talk about motion paths, spatial and temporal interpolation, and also using the graph editor. So this is the lesson on keyframing, and this can be rather lengthy, so I think I'm going to divide this video in two parts. This is part one. So let's get us started. In After Effects, please go ahead and open the composition named, let me make this a little bit wider so you can see it, Apply and Adjust Transformations using Keyframes. And all I really want to do is I want to show you what I already did, which is this. You see a little cube is just following a path, and as it follows the path, a line is being drawn. So let's go ahead and recreate this. And in fact, we're also going to add some rotation, scale, and opacity keyframes. Let's get to it. Create a new composition that is Control or Command N, name it Transform Keyframes. Now, let's go ahead and create the cube. So before we do that, let's go to Edit, Preferences, General, and let's make sure that the anchor point gets centered in the new shape layer. So center anchor point in new shape layers is checked. And I also want to not have linear spatial interpolation. I want a Bezier. I want those curves. So let's go ahead and click OK, and now let's create the cube. And we can make it yellow if we want. You know, it's not necessary, but there you go. I'm going to make it like yay as I press and hold the Shift key to make sure that it is a perfect square. And there it is, right? If I wanted to keyframe the transform properties of this, I need to see the transform properties. So you see them in here. Transform properties are always anchor point, position, scale, rotation, and opacity. I do keyframe the anchor point, but not as often as I keyframe position. So just for that, let's keyframe position only. Let's start by defining what a keyframe is. A keyframe is a moment in time. It's a moment in time where you tell whatever property, hey, at this moment in time, your value is this, whatever that value happens to be. Then you go to a different moment in time, you change the value of the same property, and then After Effects interpolates or gradually goes between the first value and the second value. So there's a couple of things from here that you really need to understand. One keyframe and zero keyframes are the same thing. You need at least two keyframes to make things work because it needs to come from somewhere or go somewhere. So you need a minimum of two keyframes. That's the first thing. The second thing is this: when should go first? When would you like for the effect or the change to happen? When? That's determined by the playhead. When you are keyframing things, move the playhead first. At least look at it first. When do you want for the animation to start? At 1 second. Okay, 1 second, 1, 0, 0, and there you go. Then you go to the what. When goes first? When do you want it to start? At 1 second. Boom, done. What do you want to happen? Well, I want to keyframe position. So we're going to select the layer and press the letter P for position. Now, we're going to move this, and we can just click and drag it with the selection tool. And I want to start it here on the bottom left. Okay, now we need to tell After Effects, hey, we need this to be a keyframe. So we go to the stopwatch to the left of the word position and we turn it on. Boom, done. Now, it's important to understand that clicking on the stopwatch did not add the keyframe. Even though you're thinking right now, Luisa, you're crazy. It just did. Hello, didn't you just see it? Yeah, but this is what happens, right? If you move in time and click on the stopwatch again, you delete the keyframes. So clicking on the stopwatch doesn't add the keyframe. Clicking on the stopwatch, the only thing that it does is that it says, hey, changes in time on this property are now possible. Oh, and by the way, here's a keyframe to help you get started. All right, so that stopwatch needs to be on. So here we go, 1 second, 100, boom, click on the stopwatch, and my layer is already where I want it. Okay, now we're gonna have several keyframes. When do you want the second one? Oh, at, I don't know, 3 seconds. There you go, thereabouts. You know, now we're just gonna do it kind of, sort of. Move the playhead, then move the layer. Move the playhead, then move the layer. Move the playhead, then the layer. And notice that the keyframes are being added automatically. All right? Change in time, then in property. And all of them work exactly the same way. If I wanted to keyframe, say, rotation at the same time that I'm keyframing position, I would need to look at rotation, right? So Shift R, because I want to see both position and rotation. Now I can navigate between my visible keyframes using 2 keyboard shortcuts, J, which takes me to the previous keyframe, and K, which takes me to the next. J and K, J and K. This only works with visible keyframes. So now I keyframe rotation, then K, I'm going to change rotation. K again, I'm going to rotate the other way. K again, and the other way. And finally, there you have it. And now what I have is a layer that is moving and rotating at the same time. Oh, Luisa, I want to add also scale to that. Fantastic. Select the layer, Shift S, S for scale. And now we're going to use J and K again. So there you go. Scale keyframe. Make it bigger. Make it smaller. Make it bigger. Or whatever you want to do, right? And then make it even smaller. Why not? All right. You can even just go, hey, you know what? Reset. And that creates a keyframe. And now we have a layer that is changing position, rotation, and scale all at the same time because I navigated the keyframes using my keyboard shortcuts. If you forget the keyboard shortcuts, that's cool. You see this thing here? That's a keyframe navigator. See, next keyframe, previous keyframe. So that's the same kind of as pressing J and K with the added, see that little diamond shaped thing in the middle? You can add or delete the keyframe by clicking there. Piece of cake. And we could add opacity as well, right? So Shift T, and there you go. We're going to go here, and now we're going to make that transparent, back to visible, back to transparent, back to visible. And now I'm doing all of those things at the same time. See it? And that's really easy because all you're doing is moving in time, changing property, moving in time, changing property. So easy peasy. Now, there are 2 types of interpolation in After Effects. One is called spatial and one is called temporal. The spatial one means changes in space. So it refers to changes in X, Y. So remember, X is side to side, Y is up and down. And if we were in 3D, and Z, which is closer or farther away from the camera. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to delete this layer and I'm going to have a new layer, right? And it doesn't really matter where I have it because the anchor point will be centered immediately. Now, if I move from point A So in position, right? Because this is spatial interpolation. From point A to point B in a straight line, that's called linear interpolation, linear, straight line. But if I go from point A to point B, not in a straight line, that's called Bezier. All right, so here we go. Each and every path is made out of dots. These dots signify frames, but I prefer to think of them as moments in time. But some of these dots, they don't look like the others, right? And of course, now I sound like a children's program, right? One of these dots doesn't look like the others. That's because it's not a dot for the path at all, it's a handle. So now I'm going from point A to point B, not in a straight line, and that's called Bezier interpolation. Now, right now, this keyframe only has one handle because it's not coming from anywhere, it's just going. And this one only has one handle because it's not going anywhere, it's just coming from somewhere. If I were to add a keyframe in the middle here, I would have the handle that controls the coming and the handle that controls the going, right? And by default, they are connected. When one side of the handle goes up, the other one goes down, and vice versa, and that's known as continuous Bezier. Continuous Bezier. Well, guess what? Just like with the pen tool, if you press and hold Alt and Control, which are Command and Option on the Mac, you get the little upside down V, which is the Convert Vertex tool, and now there is no connection in between the incoming handle and the outgoing handle, and that's just known as plain vanilla Bezier. I call it non-continuous Bezier. So, linear straight line, Bezier curve, right? Continuous Bezier, connectivity between the handles, and non-continuous Bezier, no connectivity between the handles. But doesn't this really sound a lot? And I mean a lot, like the pen tool? Yeah, I'm thinking sure. So do this with me. Create a solid. The color doesn't matter. Create a path on that solid. Whatever that path you want it to be, it doesn't matter. All right? Now let's add an effect to that solid. Do this with me. Effect, generate, stroke, right? At the bottom here in the Effect Controls panel, see where it says on Original Image? Click there and choose on Transparent. And now play around with the color of the brush and the size of the brush. I'm going to change this to yellow, whatever, right? Now, we can keyframe any of these properties, but what we are going to keyframe is the end property, so that whenever we want to start the animation, that value will be 0. So I want to start the animation at 1 second. Remember, when comes first? When at 1 second. What? Oh, the end property is going to have a value of 0. End, done. Then move the playhead, I don't know, 4 or 5 seconds to the future and change the value of end to be 100. Done. Look how this now draws itself. I know, right? It's just drawing itself because we are animating the end property, which is what makes it draw itself. If you want to see the keyframes, select the layer and press the letter U as in unicorn. And I don't know if you've noticed here, it only got to 99 because I messed it up. It's okay. I can press the letter J. That puts my playhead right on top of the visible keyframe. And I change this value to be 100. And now my animation is correct. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to have a cube doing exactly the same thing. It's going to look like the cube is drawing the line, even though it isn't. So let's draw a cube. I don't want it to be yellow. I want it to be, I don't know, this blue, whatever. It's important that the anchor point goes to the middle, or really to whatever you want for position, right? So remember, position refers to where the anchor point is with respect to the viewable area or canvas or composition. Anchor point, the value for anchor point refers to where the anchor point is with respect to the layer. So the anchor point with respect to the layer needs to be in the middle for what I want to do. And now we're going to keyframe its position. And we're going to do that by copying the mask. And here we go. Select a solid, press M for mask, click on the words mask path. Click on the words mask path and copy. Control C, Command C on the Mac. Now, select the shape layer, press the letter P for position, and just for now, we're not going to worry about when, but simply click on the word position and paste. We are not going to worry about when yet. And here we go. If we were to play this, it certainly is following the path. It's just not doing it when it needs to do it. Select the bottom layer, in other words, the solid, and press the letter U. Do you see these keyframes? That first keyframe has to agree with the first keyframe of the stroke as you drag, press, and hold the Shift key. And the last one also needs to agree as you drag, press, and hold the Shift key so things snap. That's it. It's going to look like that cube is drawing the path. So when it comes to spatial interpolation, masks and position keyframes are pretty much interchangeable. And you can use that for a myriad of things that we're not going to get into right now, but I will go extensively on future tutorials that have nothing to do with the certification. All right, I think this takes me to the end of this video, the continuation of this objective in the next video. See you then.